I was going for 1940s, but I think I wound up in the 50s. Oh well, I look cute either way. Except I really need a jacket because it's cold. So have you guys heard that it's Women's History Month? And that Marvel is finally releasing their first solo female-led movie? Because I sure have. Every single whining, entitled man-baby on the internet seems to be devastated by this fact. Oh, I will get to this. I will get to this in full when I ramble about it after having actually seen the movie. Unlike, those people who are trying to review bomb it on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, I thought I would take the entire month to talk about some of the women Marvel in the MCU has not treated very well. And the first one is the one I have the least to discuss. And that's a completely personal thing. I have nothing against her, it's just I'm not a fan of the franchise that she's in. And that franchise is the Captain America sub-franchise of the MCU. Don't worry, it's not Peggy. I know, everybody likes Peggy, and that's why this topic is so loaded, among other reasons. I'm talking about Sharon Carter. It is baffling to try and dissect the fandom response to Sharon Carter. It's just mind-boggling, really. I mean, you have a wonderfully talented actress with Emily Van Camp, you have a character with a ton of established comic lore, you have some pretty decent chemistry with Chris Evans, but then again, Chris Evans has chemistry with everybody because he is a Dorito-shaped Adonis that anybody would be lucky to be with. That is some fine-ass Boston beefcake. What? I can appreciate the look. Anyway, I wanted to discuss some of the issues that I notice people have with Sharon and why I have issues with people having those issues. And we'll get the big one out of the way first. It was awkwardly done for the whole Sharon being Peggy's niece thing to get brought up. Even Haley Atwell had to comment on how that was done not very well. Although I think that kind of brings up the problem in general. Sharon was always going to fall in Peggy's shadow thanks to this, and that is a long shadow. Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter is nothing short of incredible. She was funny, she was smart, she was beautiful, she was the complete package. So not only did Sharon have a lot to measure up to, but she ended up losing out a lot on what should have been her introductory movie because of Scarlett Johansson. And I'm not saying like Scarlett Johansson came into the set of The Winter Soldier and started bad-mouthing Emily Van Camp. No, I'm just saying that the whole way that The Winter Soldier is handled in terms of female representation is not good. They had written this part for Sharon and then found out Scarlett Johansson was available and was like, hey, Black Widow is already an established character in this universe and people like her enough that we can market her without actually, making any merchandise for her. And yeah, we'll just shove her into most of the parts that are action-y, and Sharon will be off on the side in like 2 or 3 scenes. This is an issue I also had with Thor Ragnarok. Female characters are not interchangeable. You cannot simply replace one female lead with another and have it be the same. The kiss between Steven and Natasha is awkward and funny, and yeah, Evans and Johansson do have some chemistry together because they've worked together like a bajillion times at this point, but it needed to go to Sharon. Sharon needed this kiss a lot more than Natasha did, and I have a lot to say about Natasha, but not right now. Not right now. So in her introductory movie, Sharon was deliberately being positioned unfavorably compared to Black Widow and Peggy Carter. That wasn't fair to her. It wasn't. And the fact that Peggy's popularity has continued has kind of not helped her further. I mean, we had the Agent Carter series, we had her cameo in Age of Ultron, her cameo in Ant-Man. Haley Atwell even showed up in an episode of freaking Avengers Assemble just to revive the character in a time travel hijink that I really couldn't. Never mind. So the thought was that maybe during Civil War, Sharon would get her due? Yes and no. They did some damage control in Civil War to kind of assuage the fans that, yeah, we know it's a little awkward that Sharon is in love with her great aunt's one true love who got away or whatever, but she knew about that and so she kept her distance and, hey, we're gonna give her some of the old dialogue that she originally had and it'll be cute and we'll finally get a Sharon and Steve kiss that'll be nice. And not completely awkward because, he's on the run and there's Bucky and Sam sitting in the back of the car and you really need to go, guys. Like, this is not the best time. Yeah, I think the Russos need a script consultant when it comes to romance because I have yet to see them do it well. I calls it like I sees it. And so that's my thoughts on Sharon in the movies. She could be a great character if the Russos and Kevin Feige and Marvel in general would let her be. Then there's the fandom reaction to her. There is commentary of how she is useless, which tends to be the phrase that gets thrown out for any female character who is not directly involved with the plot. And I have a lot of issues with that just in general, because it manifests as such a casual form of internalized misogyny. Not everything is about plot, sometimes it's about character, and Sharon is an important part of Steve's character. Yes, she's related to Peggy, but she's also a sign of Steve moving away from Peggy, accepting that that part of his life is over, that he missed his chance, but he still has a chance for something new. And I realize that I'm being a little reductive now because that makes it sound like Sharon's just a love interest, but she kind of got reduced to just the love interest by the Russo's script because they had to sideline her for Black Widow, and then Civil War was just so jam-packed with heroes that they didn't have time to expand on her properly. But then there is one other thing, and I see this in a lot of fandoms, not just the Marvel fandom, but it is a big thing in the Marvel fandom, and that is Steve getting shipped with other people before he gets shipped with Sharon. And I'm not talking about Steve getting shipped with Peggy, I'm talking about Steve getting shipped with Bucky, or Tony, or Sam, or Thor, or literally like any male presence in the Avengers, or hell, any other female presence in the Avengers. For one thing, the male thing especially annoys me, not because I don't think people should ship men together, but I'm tired of seeing male ships where there is an established love interest in canon who is female, and then it's just, oh no, this guy's gay. You can have bisexual characters, guys! And I think that's actually a sin of fandom in general. We have kind of fetishized male relationships and objectified them horribly. And it's at the point now where it's honestly increasingly rare that you find healthy male friendships. Just friendships. Sam and Frodo, anybody? This is kind of like that issue with replacing Sharon with Natasha. If you say that a female character is completely useless and unnecessary if she has no romantic attachment, you have participated in female erasure to an extent. You have effectively shoved her out so you can make your gay boys kiss. And again, it is fine to make your gay boys kiss as long as you do it in a responsible, thoughtful way. I mean, I think it says a lot about us as a culture that we can't have a friendship where you would literally risk going to jail for someone or dying for someone. We used to be able to do that, and I don't think we can now, and we're working on getting back to that point, but fandom is so constantly insisting that this means they are going to fuck each other. And the characters that this hurts the most aren't always the ones getting shipped, but the ones who get cast aside for it. I would be fine with male shipping Steve and Bucky, or Steve and Tony, or Steve and Sam, or anyone else, if that meant Sharon still got attention. Maybe Steve and Sharon did try to date and it didn't work out, but they're still friends. That is also something that can happen. You can date someone and then just decide to be friends with them. I would be fine with Steve having a male partner. He is allowed to be bisexual or pansexual or any sexuality, as long as you don't invalidate the fact that he does have feelings for women in canon and that he has been very good to them. Seriously, Steve Rogers is like the ultimate goals in how to be a gentleman, which also, says quite a bit about how low the bar is set. But if all you see when you look at a character like Sharon Carter is who she is romantically involved with and how that stands in the way of your gay ships, you have participated in erasure and you have participated in bad feminism. The male gaze is a term that gets used a lot in cinema, but we don't really hear the term female gaze because it's usually just, appropriating male gaze and using the techniques on male bodies rather than female bodies. But I think female gaze is something that we definitely see when it comes to fan fiction, especially male queer fan fiction, because it's objectifying. It's reductive. It's kind of horrible in places. Now, fanfiction is a wonderful thing, and it's wonderful that a lot of queer people have found comfort in creating queer works through fanfiction. But you have to maintain a certain level of respect for the material that you are transforming. And I don't think that people who erase Sharon in order to facilitate their male-male ship are doing that. They are deliberately disrespecting another character in order to elevate the ones that they like. And that's a form of internalized misogyny. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people have internalized misogyny. It is literally something that has been taught to us over and over again in the media we consume, in the society that we live in. But if you want to consider yourself a feminist, then you have an obligation to consider this and try to correct it when you can. You're not progressive just because you ship two men. You're progressive if you ship two men in a respectful way that doesn't actively harm people. And it's highly likely that we're never going to see Sharon again. Chris Evans' contract is almost up, and, well, if there's no Steve Rogers, there's no reason to bring Sharon Carter back. She was originally featured in a draft of Infinity War, but got written out, and based on my research, I still can't tell whether or not she survived the snap. Don't tell me in the comments, but they've seemed to run out of things to do with her, which is horribly lazy because there is plenty to do with Sharon. You just didn't do anything with her when you had the chance. I don't know, maybe they'll throw a Hail Mary and Steve and Sharon will just drive off into the sunset to finally be happy together, but knowing Marvel, I doubt it. And no matter what they end up doing with her for Avengers Endgame or any other future movies, she definitely deserves better than the bashing that she's gotten in the fandom since her introduction, and she deserved more than Marvel gave her during her tenure. Nothing but respect for you, Agent 13. Nothing but respect.
Merci beaucoup for watching. Please be sure to like, leave comments, share, and subscribe. I would love to make these videos more often, but to do that, I need your help fending off the YouTube algorithm.
So my next video is going to be Captain Marvel, which everybody will be getting at the same time, but if you're interested in early access for the videos that come after that, you can join my Patreon where you also get request and cameo privileges, and I am still doing my Crazy Ex-Girlfriend fundraiser. Please help me out on that. You have no idea how much a California airline ticket costs. Well, I mean, you probably do, you can Google it fairly easily, but come on, guys! It's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Alright, thank you very much, and I will see you soon. A bientôt!